Hey, welcome to the Jeffcast. I've got an absolute treat for you guys today. I'm joined today by a guy I've been following for probably about a decade now, BJ Gaddour, who is, if we're just going to talk about credentials, this guy's, former fitness director for Men's Health Magazine, created multiple DVD workout programs, author, great book out there, Your Body's Your Barbell, you can find on in Amazon, creator of the Daily BJ website, by the way, a self-proclaimed former fat kid who became a Men's Health Magazine cover model, not to mention husband, dog owner, and really someone that you're going to find out today if you're not familiar with him, has a very unique blend of content with comedy, which is not an easy thing to always pull off. Many have tried, myself included, and sometimes not so successfully. So, BJ, thanks for coming on here.
Oh, it's my pleasure, man. You forgot the most important thing, though. Fries lover.
Fries lover. Yeah, I do that. Five Guys, right? Not just any fries, but Five Guys fries.
It's those thick-cut Idaho potatoes.
Now, you were talking about talking yourself out of eating something just before we got on here. Is that one of them?
Well, that's one of my go-tos because, in terms of I'm not sure what's our language here because I don't know what to say, cheat meal or the other way I say it.
Hey man, you have the freedom here, okay? So I have a vast array of listeners, so we can go. I've been around you enough to know that it can get sketchy, and that's okay.
Yeah, well, okay. In that case, you're definitely going to lose some followers and some friends today. I call them hashtag meals because it's exactly what you say in your head. When you're like, you know what, I know this might not be the best option, the healthiest option, but, to make it a lifestyle and to, especially if you enjoy food, you never want to lose that because, especially if you're not like a real social person or like to do a lot of outdoorsy stuff. Like for me, I like to watch movies and chill and eat good food. So if I lost that aspect of my life, it'd be a pretty miserable experience. And, they're made with, they're cooked in peanut oil. There's I looked at the large serving of a Five Guys fry has 150 grams of carbohydrate, which is a pretty good dose, but 20 to 24 grams of fiber, I think.
Oh, so, wow. It's a high fiber meal.
Taters.
Hey, so one of the things, if a lot of people don't already know this, one of the things I like about following you is you do these live, almost weekly Q&As. And you were doing these I want to think back on Facebook, even before there was a live video format, you would do kind of these Q&As just for your audience to kind of, put in some questions. And I got to tell you, so I follow clearly because there's good content. You put out really good content. But I will admit, there is an entertainment factor in the ridiculousness of questions that come in there. So here's just a few, okay? So here's some of my top 5 or 6 favorites. How do I get a pump while sleeping? I'm not sure what that is, right? How do I work my forearms? You might need to touch on the forearm aspect, right? Can you use keto and intermittent fasting at the same time to lose fat on the back of the neck? That's a particular favorite. Can I eat barbecue chicken every day and get 11% body fat? And obviously, what do you think about intermittent fasting? How do I lose belly fat? And what do you think about intermittent fasting? So that is some of the top ones there.
It is consistently the worst 45 minutes of my week whenever I do those. And I do it every week just because I like to stay in touch. I love helping people. I love sharing.
You do.
But the unfortunate thing is that, I feel like we're making progress. I put out some good content. And then I get on this Instagram Live, and I'm like, wow, we've made progress at all. and then also, I'll spend the whole week making content what 5 ways you can access a pull-up without having to do a pull-up, or
right.
It'll literally be a post about the question they're going to ask me in the live feed because they're not seeing what I'm sharing because who knows the algorithms on Instagram or Facebook
exactly
these days, and it's just I don't know what to do, and I feel bad because the people that keep tuning in on a weekly basis, like you, you're hearing the same. How do I lose belly fat?
Right.
My favorite one. Right. I think to date was this person. This is actually a direct message, and he asks, "What should I eat to avoid face fat, and also what exercises can I do to lose face fat? And I answered in a very serious way. Well, eating itself. How did I answer? Because it was well. I really put the message well together. But yes, I said so. It's kind of a catch-22 because eating burns face fat, but the food itself makes you gain fat in the face. And I didn't say that I was joking, and I'm pretty sure that person now is trying to find the perfect balance of chewing and eating to slim his face.
Well, and I could tell, like, especially with the Q&As, not a lot of people are doing it. We know people in the industry who they just put out good content, videos, sometimes no sound, just here's some movements, and they don't ever talk, and they surely don't take time to connect with their followers. So that's something you've always done and done a really good job of. But like I said, the entertainment factor, I can tell you, I have learned, because I've watched enough of these with you, the skin tone of you is the barometer. Like, you're good for about 2 intermittent fasting questions, and then it starts to change. And then I'm really like dialed in because it's almost like a movie. Like the train wreck's about to happen. It's like, Naomi, is the freaking heat on? Like, turn the heat out. The heat's not on. It's like you're having hot flashes over every question.
I become basically a 47-year-old menopausal woman with hot flashes, and I start sweating, and I start chomping at the bit. I mean, yeah, because you can tell, like, again, going back to the original reason why I do it, like, for me, there's nothing more valuable to me than my time. So when I give my time, I feel like I'm giving the most value.
Right.
So to me, there's nothing more valuable than just taking the time to listen to the questions, answer them to the best of my ability, try not to be too much of a jackass in my responses, even more so than just making a post that someone can share and can benefit them. You know this. You have your own business. It's not about money or giving someone something. Really, giving your time is the biggest gift you can give to someone, in my opinion, because I take my time very seriously, and I like to have as much free time as possible. So when I'm doing something that is not like laying down and watching Netflix or training or working on my business or hanging with my wife and dogs, anything that takes me away from that has to be important. So I don't think people really realize how much value I consider that is, even more than all the other stuff that I do. And hopefully it helps. And I guess I'll keep answering the same stupid questions over and over again. But again, one thing I will tell you, Jeff, it does remind me on a weekly basis to never get lost in the vortex of fitness. Because when you're doing this for a very long time, you lose perspective and you can be out of touch with, what people are really thinking about or struggling with. And it's a weekly reminder that most people don't really know that much about fitness, and I need to understand that I've got to communicate and message appropriately to that, because then they'll have no interest in following me because they feel like I'm just this robotic freak show that that they can't relate to. And that's why, like I mentioned, the Five Guys thing. It's like I'm sure you dealt with this early in your career. The stuff you show or share is about you doing the best, like the city upon the hill, like greens and chicken, healthy fats, a tablespoon of olive oil plattered over your broccoli for extra flavor. And no one likes to see that. Like, it blows my mind. Like, the best posts that I've done are me, like, eating KFC or Five Guys or having a pizza. Because, it's a reminder that people want to be normal. They want to be the average American that can do things that most Americans can do at some level of moderation, but still be fit enough or have some semblance of abdominals and maybe be attractive to whoever that they want to be attractive to.
I mean, and that's a great point, because like what we post on there, and this is the social media age, right? That is you at your best. I mean, that's you at the best movement. If you're filming a workout video, there's going to be some editing. I mean, you're not going to show the cut stuff. It's going to be at you at your best. Which the internet, bringing that up, because you kind of made your name. You've had some success in it, different platforms, except Twitter, right? Not a big Twitter guy.
I have not logged into Twitter in 3 years. I just basically I post directly from Instagram to Twitter because, again, like, what am I going to type in text that's going to, relay a fitness message? Well, that's not necessarily true. I make some infographics on Instagram that are more text-based. But, again, like, you got to do what you enjoy in a lot of cases. Like, I don't get Twitter. I've never enjoyed it. I'm never on it. So I'm never going to be good on Twitter. So to me, it's like, why even bother? Who knows? I don't even know how many people that follow me on Twitter, but it's not a lot.
Right. Well, I mean, but we live in an age where it's like, there's some good aspects of social media, but let's be real. It's like a lot of our perceived success is based on how many followers, and your quality of content is based on how much likes and engagement, so to speak. And sometimes there's some really good stuff out there that people just don't know about. So I know that's the game that has to be played. That's social media, but I think what I've always found interesting about you is you find a way. I mentioned that in the beginning, the content with comedy. I can tell you strive to put out good quality content, some information, but at the same time, having some fun. I think one of your great lines was your mission was to get people to laugh and lean out. Well, they definitely want to lean out. If you can make them laugh in the process, that's a touchdown. Well,
I hope so. And one thing I noticed too, did you wear a polo for this special occasion?
Hey, man,
I feel underdressed. I've got a T-shirt, and you've got like a Ralph Lauren, navy blue.
It is. You got it. Hey, I dressed up.
Yeah,
for you.
How dare you address me on this podcast?
Well, I thought this was a fitness professional podcast. So I didn't get the memo.
Well, you asked the wrong guy to come on to the podcast, and I do like to have fun, man. Like I had to spend a good majority of my, initially when I started my business, it was my boot camps and my training. I could really be myself for the most part. Like there's some things that I freely say now that I wasn't comfortable enough saying then because, it's like you've got to be professional. And when you're in your 20s, you need to like act like you're in your 30s and 40s, right? And then you get to your 30s or whatever, and then you try to act like you're still in your 20s. It's a funny because you don't want to be too young and you don't want to be too old. And so, but when I was a consultant to brands like Men's Health and stuff like that, especially when I worked there, I had to be a little more vanilla than I am naturally because again, it's more conservative brands. Brands are in general very conservative, and it's really about just a clean message and all that stuff. And as much as I would try in those circumstances to bring humor to things, like I did that Cupid video for Men's Health and a variety of things, but
scandalous.
Still not able to be myself. And I wore a diaper, Jeff. That would be, I guess that is definitely a career low light, but I definitely enjoyed it. And but yeah, so I mean, I think people there are plenty of super serious robotic fitness militant instructors out there, and there are also a bunch of people that might be entertaining that have no knowledge of training and diet and are just there because they look a certain way or they're just a freak show and you're just watching to see the train wreck unfold in front of your eyes. So I like to combine, the fact that I do know my stuff and that I am, generally kind of a ridiculous person and strange, weird, eccentric, but maybe there's some humor you can find in that too.
Absolutely. And just so people who may not be familiar with you, you have a personal transformation. And I know they see maybe the before after photos, you at 17 and then on the cover of Men's Health magazine. And it's remarkable, right? But what they probably don't realize is that wasn't a 21-day blitz. There is a journey behind that. There is a story about that to get to where you're at now. We're 17 years. So touch on a little bit about mindset, because we live in this day of the 30-day shred. Not to knock the post-holiday shred or anything, but we live in that kind of age. We want it now, and yours is a journey that's still ongoing.
Well, actually, you're right. It wasn't 21 days. It was actually 27 days. So it took 6 days longer than originally anticipated. But, you touch on the whole thing, man. I recently did this key chart where I'm what are my strengths, what are my weaknesses? And I've always prided myself in being very self-aware. And, I've got the 5 weaknesses. They're they're fatal flaws. Like it's actually, I was amazed that I've gotten this far in my life. Like very antisocial, pessimistic, indifferent, dismissive. Prone to rage or anger, like all these things that like could get you in jail or fired on the spot. And so it's a reminder in two ways. One that I'm lucky I've gotten as far as I have, and the reason I've gotten this far, if I could point to one thing, it's that consistency, and that applies to business, in training, in diet, and everything you want to accomplish that is so big at the moment, like you can't even see the end product. You can't even visualize the light at the tunnel. It's just that willingness to be consistent for 3, 5, 10, 15 plus years, whatever, because you're passionate about it. And, you have flipped that switch internally where you don't need the motivation. It's just what you do. I don't need to get fired up. I don't need to see, I like to watch. I'm a huge fan of the Rocky series, but there are some people that will have to watch Rocky 4 to get motivated to work out on Tuesday. And that's obviously not sustainable. The other part of it too is doing that kind of self-assessment is, as far as I've not gotten as far as I would like to. And it's just a reminder that any limitations or shortcomings that I've had have been entirely my own doing. It's been nobody else's. And so you will only get as far as yourself, and being able to address weaknesses, but also knowing the strengths. And again, that's the one thing I can say is I did my first workout when I was 14 years old. I have not missed a week of training since. I'm 35 years old today. And that approach is what I believe in. That's my mission, or my mantra, so to speak, with fitness, is that consistent work ethic, that discipline. That's just something that if I have a superpower, it's that, because there aren't a lot of people that can say that. There just aren't. And there might be more fit people, stronger, whatever, but I never have taken time off or layoffs, or I've just kept snowballing all the way through. That snowball gets bigger, just a little bit bigger every single day. And and part of the way I motivate too, Jeff, you see in some of those Instagram lives or whatever, I'm a huge fan of demotivating first. I like to bring people down to the gross reality of the slum of it, that you're like, there's nothing sexy about this. It's meal prep, it's planning, it's prioritizing, it's, you're probably not going to ever look as good as you'd like to look. It's probably not worth the sacrifice. But then, like, you get someone to that point, you eliminate all those ridiculous expectations, and they dial into the fact that it's just about the man in the mirror, the woman in the mirror, getting a little bit better, maximizing what you've got, and just knowing that when you take the pressure and the anxiety out of it, and you just focus on the process and just showing up, all that good stuff, it'll come to you. And again, it might not be as good compared to other people, but relatively, you'll look back 1, 3, 5 years from now and be like, I can't believe I used to look like that, feel like that, move like that, and this is what I'm doing today.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting you bring up the things that you might call a weakness, all right? And yeah, they probably may not fit in the corporate setting, right? But those are probably the same attributes that make you successful working on your own as an entrepreneur. You're driven. I mean, I think that's the thing. Like, even with fitness, people are going to take a different fitness approach to it. People that are very, very task-minded, give me the diet, let me check it off the list, I'm going to follow in detail. There's other people that will go more habit-based. I'm the tortoise. Like, I'm not the rabbit, And every time I read that book, the turtle always wins. Why? He just creeps along, slow and steady. I'm definitely not as strong as I want to be, or we've all got body image issues, and I have no calves. Like, you're team high calves, I'm team no calves, and it's like I can't get those freaking things to grow right. It's like, so we're all, but we have a different mindset and approach to fitness, just like we do in life. And I just find like some of the things that I would never even make it a day in the corporate world, but I do really well on my own. Matter of fact, I did I'm in Dave Jack's coaching group with Ben Boudreaux and Paul Theo. And I'm on there. Those guys are former wrestlers, high extroverts, right? We do a little personality test. I'm a major introvert. Like, I can talk to you and be sociable, but I'm the most creative and recharged or energized in my alone time. So, we all have different attributes like that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the 2 years I was at Men's Health, man, it was really funny. Like, I knew it wasn't going to work long term because, I'm an entrepreneur. I like to do my own thing. I do not like being told what to do. You try to tell me what to do, or, it's almost where even if I want to do it, I won't do it because I don't like the fact you thought you could tell me what to do. Like 6-year-old type mentality with that. Again, but you have to know that about yourself. And the first couple of months, like, they put me in this office, like this cubicle, and people would like come over and talk to me, and I'm like instead of emailing me or whatever, like they come into my office and ask me in person. I'm like, it was an absolute nightmare. So I convinced them to put me in an offsite building that was like 5 minutes away from the main building. That was like this building that the family owned, and we ended up turning it into the studio where we filmed all the workouts, and I actually turned it into a gym where I would work out, and like nobody was there. So I basically created like Quasimodo from the Hunchback of Notre Dame. His like clock tower is what that building was. And that's the only way I could do it for the 2 years I was there, because after 3 months I was ready to leave, because I'd go through the whole day and people would, just from like stopping by and like talking to me, I would be so exhausted. And I'm like, I can't do this.
Right.
So the only way that even worked for 2 years was I had to convince them to give me my own building where nobody could come and see me.
How dare you come interrupt my office and my workout? Because, you could tell that. Now, would you say that was a warehouse?
It was like, used to be a tannery, actually, and they bought it, and that's where a lot of the photography and video would go out of, and then like there were complaints because people would like, they just like would want to stop by and talk, so I just started locking all the doors. But they would complain that I'm locking the doors and hoarding the space, and I'm like, you know what, fuck this, I'm just gonna go home. It's time for me to leave.
Yeah. All right, so I want to get into just a little bit of like what your space is, and I think first of the year, like both Men's Health Magazine, Shape, seemed like there's another publication. They both came out with like their top 10 fitness trends for 2018. No surprising, HIIT style interval workouts was number one on all their lists. But when I read that, I got to thinking like probably most of these are going to be in the area of those 30 to 60 second kind of interval based workouts. Not so much in the low intensity aerobic work, and definitely not more into the shorter power sets and everything. I know you do like some 1050s as part of your program. So just talk for a second for like, and I have a hard time, I hate the term dumbing it down, but for a beginner, who wants to do the traditional high intensity intervals, to tell them to do a 1050 or even a 2040, that's hard. And also maybe do some lower intensity aerobic work. So just kind of speak about that a little bit.
Well, you made that tortoise hare analogy, and the reason the tortoise wins is because the tortoise is using the aerobic system. And the aerobic system costs more energy.
Right.
Then, and again, that's really the understanding that your body has, 3 main energy systems, and they're all active at any given time, but based on the intensity and duration of the activity, one will tend to be more active than the others. And the one that, especially with the push of, like you said, HIIT, it's every year, it's intervals and, boot camp style metabolic workouts and all that stuff. A lot of people now that are training or involved with boot camps or a personal trainer, they're getting that medium burst energy system going. It's anaerobic, but it's, like 30 to 60 seconds in duration, so to speak. It's glycolytic, meaning that it's going to burn a lot of the glycogen or sugar or carbohydrates stored in your muscles. Their muscles burn during that type of activity. And then the other two systems, you've got another anaerobic system, but it's very short bursts. It's that, typically 10 seconds or less. It can be worked upwards into that 20-second mark, but, those are the sprint type intervals that really get fast twitch fibers going. The fibers that you lose as you age, that really help you stay lean and athletic and muscular and fight against, make you resilient too. They prevent injury and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And people don't like to tap into that. And on the other side of it too, we've been told that aerobic exercise makes you fat and, it's a waste of time. And as a result, people are doing these Metcon circuits on one day and then alternating between Metcon circuits and high intensity intervals, and they're overdeveloping or overstimulating one energy system. And there's two others that are extremely important for overall fitness, overall health, and also recovery. Like your aerobic system is what you use at all times. And recovery between workouts, if that is not properly developed, you are going to really struggle to not only recover between sets in the workout, but recovery between workouts. Your resting heart rate will probably be really high, which means your ticker is working way more than it should on a per minute basis. And who knows what impact that could have for your longevity, your quality of life, And so it's understanding these three energy systems, what they do, their interrelation. And over the course of a training week, the beauty of that is if you know that, you can use them to train every aspect, allow you to train in a more frequent way, but in a way that they feed each other. So you're not just hammering one system too much and overtraining. You use those more lower intensity aerobic days for recovery. And then you can also use that really high-end short burst system. If you do it, like you mentioned, 1050s, where you're doing these short bursts of all-out effort, but with short or limited recovery, you really start to then, with the cumulative fatigue, tap into your aerobic system at the same time. And those workouts will not wipe you out as much. In fact, they tend to make you feel better by the time you're done.
Right.
And those are really important workouts to do between those classic Metcon days or those strength training days.
Man, get a good kettlebell, appropriate load, and do some sumo deadlift jumps for 10 seconds and take 50 seconds off. Do a couple rounds of that, man. It's awesome. I mean, you feel amazing. What's been kind of the response from programming that into the post-holiday shred? Like, have you had, I don't get it, or do they understand it?
Well, the thing is, one of my mantras too is I like to help people suffer as safely as possible. So it's all about exercise selection. I mean, if you tell someone to do 1050 intervals and you tell someone who never ran or someone that's overweight or someone that has joint pain to do sprints, like actual running sprints, it'll be a effort. So I like to recommend the low skill, low impact options as much as possible. Like my favorite option, and again, it does require an investment. You have to have access to like an assault air bike or a Schwinn Aerodyne bike, a total body fan bike will allow you to safely feel what it's like to go all out. Like people, they think they're doing sprints, but in a 10-second sprint, you should start conking out at the 8-second mark. Like you should almost not be able to finish the last 2 seconds. And if I chose a movement that was really high skill or unfamiliar to me or that I wasn't ready for, I could really hurt myself. So that's why a lot of people just lean on, the longer work periods, like a minute or longer, because you don't have to move as fast and it's safer, quote unquote. But then you really can't tap into there's something powerful that happens to the body when you attack those short burst intervals and that short burst energy system. And so you got to choose the right exercise mode to safely tap into that. And the feedback has been great because people are now, Jeff, people want to train every day. In general, we know that like 3 or 4, even the most advanced people, you've got about 3 or 4 high intensity workouts a week, if we're being honest about it, unless you're taking drugs. And but they want to train every day, and I get that. So it's the only way you can train every day. Like you've got to balance it out. You need the yin and the yang of it. You need the high and the low. If you want to go high, you need to go low. If you want to go high carbohydrate one day, you got to go lower another day. If you want to go high intensity on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday needs to be low enough to allow you to get the actual gains that happen in the recovery process. So, the biggest feedback I'm getting is people's resting heart rates are down, which is, I've been like stage ready shredded before, 6% body fat, maybe less. And my resting heart rate was like low to mid 70s, which is like what a really overweight person would be. And it was because I was just doing too much high intensity stuff and going very fight or flight and just smashing my nervous system to the point where, my heart's working as hard as it would if I was obese and I'm shredded.
Yeah,
and just understanding that how ridiculous and off that is. And now like with this implementing more of the aerobic style and taking a more conditioning recovery approach, deep belly breathing, mobility work, all the stuff that feeds into it, getting enough sleep and getting a sleep schedule going, locking in that protein and produce and water diet that I believe is so critical to getting lean and getting healthy. I'm getting like mid to low 50s. I hit a 45 resting heart rate the other day, which is, I don't know if that was a fluke or not, but, it makes a big difference. And I think they're seeing the total fitness side of it. And one thing I stress with this too is this was like the first plan where I told them up front, you might lose 2 pounds less fat than you would on a previous 12-week plan of mine. But because of how we've structured things and we've set it up so that you're not going to be limping towards the finish line, you're going to be accelerating through that finish line, ready to run the next race. And that's the longevity piece, Jeff. Right. My site, thedailybj.com, #not-a-porn site, is mainly a lifestyle site. You're going to get workouts and nutrition, the whole piece, but I want to set this up for you so that you can do it the way I do, in the sense that you never miss and that you're never too worried about 6 weeks, 12 weeks, because you're so focused on the bigger picture and the long-term, the longevity aspect of this, that you're over the 6-week bullshit. I mean, there might be a 6-week program or a 12-week, like we're doing like this, but this is just a part of the whole puzzle that is your lifelong journey in fitness.
Yeah, man, and I tell you, one thing I like about your site, it's very much an all-encompassing site. It's not a nutrition site. It's not a bodybuilding site. It's not it's not a mobility-wide site. But it's kind of like, I call it the Walmart effect. I don't know if you guys got Walmart up there, but here Walmart's the one-stop shop in the South. It's got a little bit of everything. You got shred programs for people who want to have fat loss. You got gains programs for people who want muscle gain. You've got some foundational nutrition stuff. You really hit on some recovery aspects, Netflix and stretch, and all that. So it's really a good one-stop shop, especially for beginners who want to come in there. And I don't consider myself a beginner, and I find tons of content within there. So between the podcast and interviews, man, it's kind of a gold mine of resources.
Well, dude, I appreciate that, and and I've had different membership sites in the past, and what I like about this one the most is you're really getting a glimpse into, I mentioned lifestyle, which is an overused word, but I shoot all the workouts from what was formerly our master bedroom. We turned into our home gym and film studio. We do all the filming for the meals in the kitchen. We podcast right at our kitchen counter. So that's one thing I found in my work with men's health and all the stuff I've done up until this point, that, people need to see it exactly where they're going to be doing it. It's not enough that I say you can modify with an ottoman when you do your rear fed elevated split squats and put your back leg on there instead of a bench. They have to see you using the ottoman, or just see that it's possible. Like, Jeff, we live in an amazing time for introverts like you and I. I mean, we can get groceries delivered to us. We can do all our workouts from home. You can run a business from home. I mean, you don't have to leave the house anymore. It's amazing. So I really should call this site Hermit Fitness, because if you want to never leave the house, I can show you how to do it, at least from the fitness and nutrition piece. Business side, that's a little bit harder to find something that you can make money from at home, but it's doable. People are doing it all over the world.
It's good, man. Yeah, you're right. Amazon, our Whole Foods, man. You can deliver right to your house. So it's like what's that new program's popped up now? They do the shopping for you, the grocery shopping for you, and they bring it right to your home. Like I know they got in some of the larger cities.
There are several grocery services. Yeah. Like, if you are a lazy piece, you are living in the greatest time that there ever was. It's amazing.
It really is. Really is. Well, hey, something you mentioned just a minute ago, I wanted to go back to, because this has been a missing piece in my training, recovery. And honestly, I'm ashamed to say that I'm just now getting into some heart rate variability and kind of measuring that and tracking that. It's something I've never done before, and obviously when you're younger, it just doesn't seem like an important piece of it, because especially when you're a teenager, you sleep 2 hours and you've recovered. But, that stuff changes as you age. And so I'm just now really getting into like the recovery aspects of fitness and having built-in recovery days, which, I still get up and I'll do some soft tissue work and, maybe go for a walk and listen to a podcast or something. But just kind of touch on like where you're, because I know you're doing Bioforce. Is that right?
Yeah, Joel Jamieson has a thing called Bioforce HRV, and he has now a thing called Morpheus that tracks, resting heart rate variability, which is basically just an indication of how well your nervous system is recovering from your workouts, and it'll give you an output. You do a test that takes 2.5 minutes each morning, and it gives you a readout of how ready you are to train that day. And there are a lot of the biggest thing that I found with that is, and you learn a lot about yourself through the process. Like if I had caffeine after a certain time, my recovery would not be as good the next day because it would affect my sleep. Or if I got a message that really bothered me or a comment that bothered me on Instagram and I got fired up about it, it would actually affect my recovery score because I'm very susceptible to stress. And that's why I live a very low stress lifestyle. I've set it up that I only really have to see my wife and my 2 dogs on a daily basis. And then I choose to talk to people like you because I enjoy your company. But it just tells you a lot. It tells you that all the things you've heard over the years, sleep is important, diet is important, you might be stressed out. No, stress will destroy you. Mm. It will affect everything. And that even with the perfect workout program, if you're too stressed out, you're not getting enough sleep, and you're not eating properly, that shit, it doesn't matter whose program it is, the best trainer in the world, that program will not work for you. So young guys, gals, older guys and gals, whatever it is, what the young people don't realize, they think, well, it's just all about muscle in the 20s, but the heart is a muscle too, and if that heart is not working properly or efficiently, you will not maximize gains because it's that, like I said, that aerobic system is what drives recovery, and its recovery is what causes gains. Training makes you worse at the moment you do it. You leave that workout impaired in some way, impaired enough, hopefully not too impaired, but impaired enough so that your body has to respond to the stress and come back more resilient. And so if we're not feeding that recovery process through the type of conditioning work we're doing, the diet, the sleep, the lifestyle piece, I like to really this is like blasphemy because, you're supposed to be a grinder, and I'm too busy to watch TV. I like to watch 3 to 4 hours of TV a night. Minimum. Minimum, Jeff, because that's how I wind down, and that's what I really enjoy. My wife and I like to, after dinner, I made a post recently, and I've worked hard to get to this point. I'm 35, and I think about all that my dad had to do. My dad is still working a job that he doesn't really like. He's good at it, but the classic 9 to 5, and especially when I was younger, he was pulling 36, 48-hour shifts, 48 hours straight, trying to get overtime as a cable guy in Milwaukee, working in the hood.
Wow.
And now I'm this guy that I wake up at 9 a.m., typically without an alarm. I train in the morning, have my first meal around noon, then I work in the afternoon. I have my second meal around dinner time, and then I just watch TV and chill with my wife and dogs the rest of the night. And I've worked hard to build that lifestyle, and that lifestyle for me is what feeds everything that I do. And so if I don't have that decompression time at night, Jeff, if I do too much work and become too productive, I become actually less of me, or less effective, or not as fun to be around. And if it means a little less money or a little less fame or whatever that is, whatever that means to anyone, I'm more than fine with that because, again, I'm doing exactly what I want to do. And, and someone will say, well, I have to work a 9 to 5. It's like, well, it's taken me nonstop work since 2005 to get to this point. And, but I knew from that time what I wanted to do. So it's basically my mind was set from 2005 to find a way to get to this lifestyle. And I'm finally really starting to tap into it, and now we got to move to LA so I can get out of the cold.
Well, yeah, exactly. You've been a cold weather climate fella for a while, but Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and then you went to college in Amherst, so that's where?
Massachusetts.
Yeah, there you go. You don't know what the sunshine and warm weather's like.
No, I have no clue, and I can't wait to get there, man. That's been a lifelong goal. I still can't even believe that it's about to happen. it wasn't even something I could even dream about because I'm like, there's no way I'll ever be able to live there, and it's looking like a possibility. Hopefully, I don't die in the next couple of months before I get out there.
Yeah, man, and I went to a couple of your events you put on in Milwaukee. They both were scheduled for the middle of winter, and I think both times when I got off there, like this snowstorm had just buried up. I like, what the heck? There's 3 foot of snow out here, and like that's just winter in Milwaukee. So I could never make it in that climate.
Oh, dude, it's brutal. That's the thing. Like, people are unfair to people in those. There's a reason they tend to be pretty overweight. Like, what else are you going to do during the months of December, January, and February besides, eat and drink? I mean, and watch TV. It's miserable. Right, yeah. So we got to be fair at the same time. If you can work towards that goal and set yourself up to be able to leave that environment, do it sooner than later. I mean, one thing I didn't want to do is have to wait till, like, the typical thing that people, if you have like success or financial freedom in a state like Wisconsin, is you want to hopefully retire in your 60s and get a home in Florida, so you can go to Florida during the winter and come back during the summer, because it is beautiful in the summer. But I'm like, I don't want to just be wrinkled and fat, to finally be able to enjoy the weather. I want to be able to do it when I'm hopefully as young as possible. And again, this all goes back to the consistency and also knowing what I wanted pretty early on and being content, I guess, with the fact that my wants are very different than I think what a lot of other people would be looking for. So, it's for me, it isn't fame. It's not like a certain amount of money. It's just freedom and flexibility of schedule, and just, again, doing everything on my own terms and being completely comfortable with saying no to any opportunity, no matter how big it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you kind of brought this up a minute ago, but I was going to ask you, like, give everyone here a day in the life of BJ. Like, when do you work? When do you work out? Kind of how you mix that up, and you kind of brought up some of the highlights there a minute ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's really just that. I train in the morning, I work in the afternoon, and I chill in the evening. And so I'll wake up around 9. I will have coffee with my wife. I'll walk the dogs, listening to a podcast of some sort. Then I come in and I do my training. And then that takes me to probably around noon, and I'll have my first meal. And then I go right into doing some quality work at my desk. Could be podcasting, could be programming, could be social media content, probably answering some emails. And then if I, usually around 5 or 6, then I'll be done with work, and then I'll have my second meal. And then after that, I walk the dogs again, and then it's just hanging out. And on the weekends, we'll even do some like serious binges where, there's training in the morning, but there's not even work in the afternoon. It'll just be like, let's see how many episodes of Homeland or House of Cards we can watch. Because again, I'm a fat guy from Wisconsin, man. That's never going to change. I train and eat the way I do on a consistent basis, so I can be as lazy as possible at all other times. Like, people will ask, like, "Hey, you want to do an adventure race with me?" And I'm like, that is a terrible idea. Why do I want to go crawl in the mud?
Exactly. Right.
I mean, I can't understand. Like, what do we? I have this beautiful couch, and it's clean, and I can lay on it, and I can adjust positions. I don't need to climb a wall or get electrocuted in mud water to, that's not how I like to express my fitness. Right, exactly. For me, I do this so I'm not the fat piece. I don't look like the fat piece. I really am.
See, I told you guys we're in for a treat today. So, man, one thing I was going to ask you was, and let me just tell our listeners, it probably sounds like you do very little work. I mean, what a life, right? The person's listening that's got the 9 to 5 or 9 to 6 grinding job is like, man, he's living life. But don't underestimate how much content you put out every single day. Like it doesn't sound like you work a lot, but you put out content. I've never seen a day go by that you didn't have at least one Instagram story of a meal or a workout or something. So you put out a lot of content each day plus programming.
Well, look. I mean, the reality is just that person who's thinking, "Oh, there's no way," or he's just lucky. Look, we talked about the Instagram Live. There are people at work asking me stupid questions for an hour straight on a Thursday. So they're at work right now. You have a couple hours of legit work in you on a daily basis.
Right.
Unfortunately, the American corporate system has it set up so that you have to spread that out over the course of 9 to 5.
Yeah.
So then you've got to find ways to you check email, you walk to the water cooler. I worked in a corporate environment for a couple of years, and I would see what it was, which is basically you set up meetings at random times to fill in gaps and make yourself feel like you're doing work. And most of the people are on social media and Facebook. So again, it's the reality of this all is, by the way, if I ever go into politics, I would run on the platform of subsidizing high-protein foods and also 3 work days a week. You work from Tuesday through Thursday. You get Friday through Monday off. And I guarantee you at least the same level of productivity. People would have happier lives. They'd be healthier. There'd be less stress. And they would then really make Tuesday through Thursday like there's no bullshitting. I'm going to do really quality work because after 4 days of doing whatever you want, you'll be guilted into wanting to be productive and remember, like, I got to have some sort of impact in my life. And so, again, if you look at things that way, it's not surprising that, especially when you make something your life's work and you become, quote unquote, good at it, you work smarter and you can get things done. Like I can program way faster than I did when I was in 2005 coming out of college and I just entered the industry. I mean, I've gotten good enough at it that I don't have to spend as much time on the stuff that I used to do. And then you also see I guess, Jeff, I've become good at not worrying about getting busy for busy's sake. There are certain things I know that matter, and that if I do them on a daily basis, I'll get 80% of what I'm looking to get. And another 20%, if you think about it, all the extra time I'd have to put in to get that last 20%. And these are the decisions you make in fitness. It's like, for most people, being shredded is absolutely not worth it. It is, pinching a little less of an inch on your stomach to do, 3 extra workouts a week, or cut out your cheesecake on Fridays, whatever it is, and you deal with this all the time. It's absolutely not worth it as long as your expectations are aligned. So don't come complaining to me if you don't like the fact that you have if you're not willing to work out more than once a week. If you're working out once a week and you're comfortable with what you're getting out of that workout, and you can do it on a weekly basis, that is success for what you're willing to put into it. And that's why your butt is larger than you'd like it to be. But that's okay because, again, I say this all the time, on the spectrum, I've been on the fat, shredded spectrum on both sides of it, everything in between. And I will tell you, the person that is shredded is equally as miserable as the person who is morbidly obese.
True.
So we're all trying to find that balance, whatever it is that works for you, your lifestyle, whatever you're looking to get. It has to be what you want, your level of sacrifice that makes sense to get what you want out of fitness. And it's not the same for you as it is for me, as it is for the people you work with, the people that I message to, and that's what I try to stress.
You would get elected on that 1 3-day work week option, my friend. I think that would be a big
Dude,
hit.
It's brilliant. And because this, all people do, they gossip. They have these stupid meetings and conference calls. And again, when you boil down to it, unless there's a deadline or occasionally something comes up big, right? If I had a big project, maybe I'd work longer, or maybe and again, sometimes I work on the weekend because I can and I want to, or I say, you know what, I'm going to take Thursday off and go to the movies, and then maybe I'll do the extra work on Saturday. Again, that's the flexibility that I built into my life. But it just, I believe in that. I don't know if I don't know if I'd ever get into politics, but I know people would say, oh, there's no way you can convince people that's so ridiculous. But it really, if you break it down, we would be in a state of, they would want to work. They would absolutely want, because you get too much free time, the human mind goes crazy. it's the right amount of time to just unleash productivity that follows. And that's the thing too, is most of us don't have the opportunity to be unproductive, because that's where all the creativity most people get, it comes on vacation. So you're only going to be creative for 1 week out of the year. People get maybe 1 or 2 weeks off a year. So that's the only time we can be creative. And to me, it makes no sense. And so I, as hard as it is sometimes, where like I'll be watching. It'll be like 3 p.m. My wife and I are watching CNN, and it's like, wow, I feel guilty because I used to be like training people at this time, and there's other people busting their ass at work. But in reality, that downtime is what's going to allow me to come up with the next good idea, or it forces me into a productive, creative state. So being a lazy piece of for me is what allows me to appear as maybe someone who is productive and working nonstop. When in reality, if you go behind the scenes, it's almost kind of a joke. But I'm doing what I love, man. So it's I take pride in what I do, and anything that comes out, I hope it has some value to it.
Well, I want to circle back what you talked about a minute ago on the sacrifices, getting what you want out of fitness. So just for our listeners, like I was working as a high school basketball coach, and had this moment driving back on a school bus late at night, make it at a private school, by the way. So I'm living just above poverty level, and questioning like, is this what I'm going to do the next 30 years of my life? And had an epiphany and decided to quit and start a personal training business. No business model, no clients, no certification. I just jumped in, and I found myself quickly that this is a tough racket to get into, and it got some dark days, but I'll never forget YouTube had come out. And man, I was searching like how to grow your business and personal training, and I come across this video of this Gaddour guy up in Milwaukee running a corporate boot camp, and he was throwing around a football, battling with foam rollers with all his clients and on. I'm like, so this is what you do. I've been doing squats, lunges, and push-ups with my clients. We need to be playing games. This is what I need to be doing. So I went to your website. I said, this guy must know what he's talking about. Sign up for the newsletter. And it was perfect timing because 3 days later, you released Bootcamp Automator. And we did a 30-minute phone call. I couldn't tell you one thing we talked about except what you just said a minute ago about basically getting what you want out of this, making some personal sacrifices. And I came away with that phone call thinking, I'm fixing to hustle and grind and make this happen. Now, obviously, you provided me with some systems that kind of separated me from the rest of the pack too. So I had some content. But it was that drive that I always took away from you, and it got to me to where I'm at now. So that's kind of how all this come to be. And, of course, you've transitioned into multiple other jobs. And, hey, just since the time that we have left, I'd love to get your take on maybe the future of the Daily BJ, projects you're working on, LA, whatever you'd like to share with us.
Well, if the site's going well, if it ever stopped working out, we do have the built-in exit strategy / plan B of becoming a legitimate porn site, because it's a great name. It makes sense. And in fact, the funniest thing about this is I picked a name that I knew that nobody else in fitness could replicate, good and bad, right? Like there's some opportunities I've lost because of it. There's some companies that wanted to work with me that won't work with me anymore because of the sexual innuendo of the name. I always like to point out too, like I'm not just about the money, because instead of $9.99 a month, we charge $9.69 to go with the sexual innuendo of the site. So that's 30 cents less sale. It doesn't sound like a lot of money, but when you get a lot of members, that can add up.
That can add up.
But to me, that loss of money is worth the joke, or the fact that I get people messaging me and telling me that they shared me a text thread of a woman that's a member to the site messaging her husband, just giving him a heads up that they're going to get a monthly bill for $9.69 from a site called thedailybeach.com, and it's just a trainer that she likes a lot and has great workouts. And the fact that people, if you're a member of the site, just by being a member, you have to tell somebody. If you live with someone else, you have to tell somebody else, at least your accountant, and give them a heads up that this is coming on. This is going to be in the financial papers. So, and again, it's knowing. I think one thing I've learned in business. I never claim to be a good business person or anything like that. But I will tell you this, I do know branding, and I do know the importance of being okay with pushing some people away to pull others closer to you. And the people that are, if you're like super conservative or serious, or, you're not going to like my style of motivation or my personality. So I'm just going to upfront turn you off. And the people that like, that don't take themselves so seriously and like humor and, ridiculous stuff, you're probably liking what I'm sharing more than ever, because now you're truly, going in not that you have to be ridiculous or pick a side, but it's authentically, I'm doing exactly what I want, and I'm sharing exactly in the way that someone said to me recently in a message. I love your stuff, but you say way too much. It's unprofessional and totally unnecessary. And I said, go yourself. And because again, it's like the gall of someone to think that I'm going to change the way I talk,
right?
The way I speak on a regular basis. That actually has gotten me pretty far in my life. Just because you don't like that, and the fact that he likes my stuff, but he's hung up on an F-bomb
right.
that he probably, by the way, uses in his own time. Who doesn't? But again, that's the whole thing, man. Like, everybody thinks that you need millions of people in your circle or to follow you or whatever to have an impact. And the fact is, Jeff, I can tell you this for a fact. The people you're impacting locally in Arkansas right now, you're doing it at way deeper of a level, and you're leaving more of a legacy than some of the people that you might see on Instagram with millions of followers, with thousands of likes on every post. That don't even, they don't have to make a caption. That's when I almost lose my shit. Because I spend 45 to 60 minutes on some captions with a photo or video, and they just post a photo and it's got 20 times more likes and shares than mine. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? But then I'm remembering there's no value to that. No one's being impacted with that.
Right.
They're basically just they're pissing in the ocean. So it's not about how many people see it. It's that the people that do see it, they leave with something useful that can make them better. And every day when you're training people and helping people and guiding people and all that you do, you are doing that. And you don't need a lot of people in your circle, because, again, what people fail to realize, the guy that got me into fitness, Coach Don Forty, the head football coach and weight room coach at University School of Milwaukee, that pulled me in when I was 14 years old to that weight room and taught me how to squat, bench, deadlift, and power clean. And I had not missed a workout since that day. It's not me that is, if you think I've helped you in any way, Jeff, I appreciate that, but really you did the work, and it's not me, it's Coach Forty.
Sure. Yeah.
And people that you're helping, it's that hockey assist. That's the beauty of this whole thing, right? The people you're helping are doing their own work with the people they know. And technically, that's your hockey assist. So, that's how I like to look at things, and getting to a point to have some fun and get rid of all the bullshit and really figure out being content with who you are, how you want to deliver your message, how you want to pursue your life work, and being comfortable with the fact that some aren't going to like it, others will, and just finding those people that will and giving them your absolute best.
Man, that's some good words there. Appreciate all that. And BJ, this has been some good stuff. I still take great pride in the fact that one of my highlights, my achievements in life, is that I'm 1-0 versus you in a game of horse. So
I knew you were going to bring that up. I almost didn't do the podcast because I knew that was going to come up at some point.
I did. Hey, and,
my wrist was sore. My wrist was sore that day.
Yeah, that's exactly what that was, though. Man, thanks so much for doing it. Hey, where can the kids find you out?
You can find me on all social media at BJ Gaddour, BJGADDOUR. You can find my website, thedailybj.com. We also have some custom apps for the Android and Apple platform that will be out soon due to popular demand. And you can also probably find me Yeah, you probably won't be able to find me anywhere else actually, because I don't go out. I don't leave the house very much. But if I ever do events or anything like that, it'll be announced on the social media platforms. And I appreciate your support, Jeff, over the years, man. More than ever, just like talking about the lifestyle that I've been able to set up that we've been able to set up, my wife and I, and moving to LA and looking back on my career, I look and I see the people like you that I've been lucky enough to come across that have supported us along the way, even at times where maybe that support wasn't even deserving or as deserving as the support that was provided. It's gotten us to where we are today, and I'm so appreciative, man, and keep doing your thing. Don't forget the mission of the hockey assist. And keep the perspective that, you don't need millions or even thousands of whatever it is, whatever you're doing, fitness, whatever career. You can have an amazing impact and an amazing legacy by focusing on the circle you do have and impacting them in a deep way.
Brother, that is some wise words. I appreciate that. Man, I'm gonna let you get out of here. Come back anytime. This has been a treat, and I know everybody else enjoyed this. So I wish you the best. I look forward to keeping track as you make the westward journey out there, and I know some good things are going to happen for you.
I appreciate that, and I would recommend whenever you post this episode, I would recommend not checking your email for probably about 5 to 7 days. You're going to get some complaints. But I appreciate the time, man, and anybody listening, if you're training with Jeff or you work with Jeff, you're working with a true professional. He's an awesome guy. I still can't – anytime I know someone who's been doing fitness for more than 5 years, they're a superstar. I don't know how. I mean, I say this all the time. If I was coming out of college today, I would definitely not enter fitness as an industry. It's an impossible space. I don't know how I could make a name for myself anymore. I'm lucky that I got him when I did. And but you're doing great work, and you are in great hands with Jeff. And he looks really good in a blue polo.
Man, I did my best. I even worked out before this.
I mean, I noticed. I saw the bicep vein. I was like, wow, this guy came to play.
I mean, I'm working on it. It's not quite to your level yet, but anyway, I'm doing my best, man. I'm doing my best to keep up. BJ, hey, man, thank you so much for this. Thanks for your kind words. And, man, everybody follow this guy right here. I might put a little, rated R for this podcast maybe, or is it – it's not worse than that. I mean, it's probably not PG-13, but,
I've got a shirt on, but I don't have any pants on, so I would go SC-17.
Oh, okay. It's that graphic. Well, guys, BJ Gaddour, the Daily BJ. BJ, take care of yourself, man.
All right, Jeff. Thanks, man. Peace.
Take care.